My corporate credit card was declined at a hotel check-in 3,000 miles away from home, and seconds later a message popped up on my screen telling me I was fired and had to figure out my own way back. I stood frozen in that crowded lobby, watching total strangers go about their day while my entire world collapsed around me. I was broke, stranded in Argentina, and humiliated beyond words. But as I stared at the unsigned $12 million contract resting inside my leather briefcase, a cold realization washed over me. My arrogant boss had just handed me total control over his entire company's future without even realizing it. My name is Sabrina, and I am a single mother to a 7-year-old girl named Lily who depends on me for everything. Her father walked out on us when she was just a newborn, so every single bill, meal, and school supply has fallen entirely on my shoulders. For 4 years, I worked as a supply coordinator for a luxury handbag manufacturer, grinding endless hours to secure high-end materials from international vendors. I was not a corporate executive, but I was exceptionally good at connecting with people, learning their cultures, and earning their trust. My hard work kept our small household afloat, but it also made me the ultimate target for a boss who loved taking credit for everything I built. My supervisor was a man named Vance who cared far more about expensive suits and office politics than actual business operations. He constantly reminded me how easily replaceable I was whenever I needed time off for my daughter, forcing me to swallow my pride just to keep a steady paycheck. 2 months ago, our primary leather supplier in South America threatened to sever ties after Vance repeatedly treated them with utter disrespect and demanding deadlines. Desperate to save the line, Vance ordered me to fly out immediately to smooth things over, completely ignoring the fact that the long trip meant missing my daughter's 8th birthday. Leaving my weeping child behind broke my heart, but I promised her I would make everything right once I returned. When I arrived in Buenos Aires, I met the legendary supplier, an elder craftsman named Mateo who ran a multi-generational family tannery. He was deeply offended by how Vance treated his workers like disposable machines, but he quickly warmed up to my honesty and genuine appreciation for their craftsmanship. Over 3 intense weeks, I worked side by side with his family, restructuring delivery timelines and building a fair pricing model that respected their labor. Mateo was so impressed by my dedication that he insisted on adding a specific clause to the prospective agreement, declaring that I was the sole representative authorized to oversee the contract. He saw how Vance operated and wanted to ensure that our professional bond remained protected from corporate greed. On the night before the official signing ceremony, I went to the hotel front desk to settle my preliminary balance, only to discover that Vance had abruptly revoked my corporate expense account. My phone buzzed with a brutal text from him, claiming the company was cutting me loose and mocking me to find my own way home. Staring at the $40 cash remaining in my wallet, a wave of panic threatened to consume me before giving way to absolute clarity. Vance assumed I would break down and beg for mercy, but he had completely forgotten about the unsigned multi-million-dollar deal sitting in my bag. I packed my belongings, boarded a local night bus, and headed straight back to Mateo's workshop to tell him the truth. Mateo and his wife were appalled when I explained how my employer had callously abandoned me in a foreign country after weeks of relentless work. Instead of panicking about the missing contract, Mateo looked at me with deep respect and asked what outcome I wanted to see happen next. He pointed out that the pending agreement was explicitly tied to my personal oversight, meaning the company had zero legal right to the leather without my approval. Furthermore, a competing luxury brand called Vanguard Style had spent months trying to recruit Mateo's firm with vastly superior terms and genuine professional respect. In that quiet workshop, surrounded by the rich scent of treated hides, I realized I held all the power to rewrite my destiny. The next morning, Mateo placed a call to Vance on speakerphone while I sat quietly at the heavy wooden workbench. Vance answered with his typical condescending arrogance, demanding to know if the multi-million-dollar contract was finally finalized and ready for shipment. Mateo calmly informed him that there would be no deal, no shipments, and no further communication with his company ever again. When Vance furiously blamed me for ruining the deal, Mateo cut him off instantly, stating that a company that treats its most valuable people like trash deserves no loyalty. Mateo then revealed that he was officially signing an exclusive partnership with Vanguard Style instead, leaving Vance stranded without a single thread for his upcoming seasonal collection. Word of the dynamic shift spread rapidly, and by that afternoon, executive recruiters from Vanguard Style reached out directly to meet with me. Their management team was blown away by my industry connections, my deep understanding of ethical sourcing, and my ability to secure exclusive international partnerships. They offered me an executive role with double my previous salary, complete creative freedom, and a flexible schedule that allowed me to work remotely from home with my daughter. They even arranged for a luxury flight home and covered all my temporary housing expenses, treating me with the dignity I had earned. Vance tried calling my personal phone dozens of times to apologize and beg for help, but I blocked his number without typing a single word back. Returning home to hold my daughter in my arms was the sweetest victory I had ever experienced in my entire life. I explained to her that Mommy had stood up for herself and that we were finally going to have the stable, happy life we always dreamed of. Over the following months, Vanguard Style launched its most successful line in company history using the premium materials I personally secured, catapulting our brand to international acclaim. Meanwhile, Vance's company completely collapsed under the weight of cancelled retail orders, massive financial losses, and widespread public backlash over their poor product quality. His division was shut down entirely, leaving him unemployed and completely blacklisted from the high-end fashion community for his terrible leadership. Reflecting on everything that transpired, I realized that getting abandoned in that foreign hotel lobby was actually the greatest blessing in disguise. If Vance had not shown his true colors so blatantly, I might have spent years shrinking myself to fit into a toxic place that never valued my worth. True success was not about seeking bitter revenge, but rather about walking away from disrespect and allowing my hard work to speak for itself. Today, my daughter sees a mother who is confident, successful, and fully present for every single milestone in her life. Standing up for yourself might feel terrifying in the moment, but it is often the exact key that unlocks the future you truly deserve.